This will be spoiler-free and spoiler all in one video. I'm not going to milk it. Just, I'll warn you before I get any kind of spoilers, so don't worry. And then when you see the movie, come back and finish my review. It's in the spoiler-free section of Scream, or 5 Cream, because I see people put the 5 in front of where the S is, because Part 4 had the 4 for one of the letters in the middle. 5 Cream. That's pretty funny. Opening thoughts? I had a good time. I thought it was fun. I thought the promotion for this movie was great, and it might have made my expectations a little higher than they probably should have been. And that might be a little guilty there of it not meeting the grandiose expectations I had. But you know, when I left the theater, I said to myself, that was fun. I certainly wouldn't call that the worst in the series by a stretch at all. So I think at that aspect, that's a home run for me in a sense. So, you know, Scream, I'll call it Scream 5 for the sake of this video. For Scream 5, you know, we open up with a very familiar scenario with a girl answering the phone, and she starts talking to a guy, and we recognize that voice, and havoc ensues. And when the sister of the first victim comes into the fray, she eventually goes to get the help of some legacy characters, especially one Dewey, as we know as David Arquette. And the killing is happening again, and we're trying to solve what's going on. So, in a sense, the movie was very formulaic to what Scream, the franchise, is, and the movies are. We've got a whodunit, we've got who's doing it, and that sort of thing. And I thought it was pretty good. You know, one thing I'll say right now is, you know, in today's world and climate, with dialogue from characters, you always wonder how a movie is going to sound and be. And the two guys that directed Ready or Not did this movie. And first, I want to give them props. I thought that the dialogue and writing in this one was really good and very palatable for all people to hear and listen to, and treated the audience member with respect and like we're not stupid. And I thought that the lacing of the breaking of the fourth wall, talking about movies, was really great. They kind of poke fun at people who use the term elevated horror, which I agree. I think is like, it's just such a silly term, elevated horror. What the hell does that even mean? You know, they use terms like elevated horror, and they poke fun at that, and they poke fun at the climate of horror now, really poking fun at Halloween 2018 in a sense. It's like, it's a requel. It's not really a sequel, but it's not just a remake, because you can't do that anymore. You have to respect the fans of the first one. You got to be involved in the storyline, but you can't have too many characters from the sequel. They poked fun at all of that kind of thing, and I thought the movie was written pretty smart and clever. One thing I did like as well about the movie was it looked really, I'd say, less polished like Scream 4. People complain that Scream 4 looked way too shiny and had like that weird, like people call it like an Instagram filter on there. And when I rewatched Scream 4, I understood what they meant. This one doesn't. I think this one almost looks like it. I mean, I think it was shot digitally, but, you know, it almost looks like it could have been shot on film. It had a very natural look to it. It wasn't overly bright. Some of the scenes in the hospitals and when there was some chases going on where they seemed very raw and dirty and dark, and I thought the movie looked good. But then again, like if you see Ready or Not, that movie had a really cool look to it as well. So in terms of the look of the film, enjoyed that too. One thing I'll say is the blending of new characters and what we call the legacy characters was done well too. They really balanced that, I think, really good. You know, you don't really have an overt use of Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, or David Arquette in here. But when they're in the film, they have great scenes, and I enjoyed seeing them in the movie. So they balanced that really well. And there is some levity with those characters too, but I'll talk more about that in the spoiler section. I'll keep it short and sweet because, you know, it's not a movie you can talk too much about and not have to just get into it. Overall, I thought Scream 2022, or 5 Cream, or Scream 5, whatever you want to call it, was good. I wasn't blown away. I'm not the biggest Scream fan in general. I like the first one. I like the second one. Not a big fan of the third one, and I could take or leave the fourth one too. But I respect the franchise greatly. I know the franchise has a ton of fans for a reason, and the appeal is big. I thought it was good, and I enjoyed it a lot. I had a fun time in the theater. I do recommend going to the theater to see it if you can. It was very fun. It's spoiler time, so if you don't want to be hearing none of this, get out. All right, spoilers. How many times have we all bitched and complained that we need a main character to die? Blah, blah, blah. This is getting ridiculous. Well, guess what? They killed David Arquette. They killed Dewey. And guess what? It sucked. I didn't want him to die. I wanted Nev Campbell to die. Or I wanted Courtney Cox to die. They took Dewey away. And I will say, when I say it sucked, I'm really giving the movie props because I cared. I was like, no, he died. But his character was great in this film because the writers of this film and the directors, they really brought Dewey into a really natural, good light. I really like the fact that he wasn't doofus Dewey. He was a middle-aged dude who's kind of a little bit of an alcoholic. They hint at it a little bit. He's not a full-blown, alcoholic where he can't stand or walk. His life is a little bit in shambles. He's on the little bit of a decline. He's divorced from Gail Weathers at this point in time, but they don't make anybody a bad guy in that situation. They just got divorced. And he talks like a middle-aged dude, and he's a little bit more subdued, and I loved that. Because, to make him the goofy guy again would have just seemed like, okay, he's what now, 51, 52? When does the slapstick shtick end with a person at that age? So, great job. And when he dies, it sucked because he was used really well in this movie. I thought he came out the best in terms of, just using the legacy character. So, in essence, I guess they succeeded because they got me when they killed him. I was just like, damn, man, no, not him. When it comes to the two killers in the movie, I had my suspicions. I'd be full of myself to say, oh, I knew it right from the start. But, I had my suspicions. And the climax of the film, I don't think it was underwhelming, but it wasn't overwhelming either. When we go back to the house where Stu lived in the end of the movie, that was cool. They had some fun moments where one of the characters is watching Stab on the couch in the scene where Ghostface comes behind the couch to stab one of the characters, and it's literally life imitating art in the movie, and Ghostface comes behind her while she's watching it. That was fun. One of the coolest things was the Billy Loomis, Pet Cemetery ghost thing going on with the older sister of the first victim in the opening sequence. The main character is the older sister of the girl who gets attacked in the beginning of the movie. And you find out her dad was Billy Loomis. And there's this really cool there's this really cool moments where you see apparition of Billy Loomis, Skeet Ulrich, and I don't know if they de-aged him or if he's just stayed in great shape and he looks the same. He might just look the same. He looked really good, but those moments were cool. That's different, a new fresh element to the film. I appreciated that quite a lot. So that element was cool. I loved seeing the Billy Loomis character in here, and he talks to his daughter, and he's like, "You're gonna figure this out, don't run from this." Blah blah blah. It was like making this anti-hero like a good guy. They twisted him. He's a ghost that talks to his daughter, but he's helping her, and she has to figure out what the hell's going on. So I thought that was fun. I didn't take it too seriously. I know some people may think that may be a good or bad thing for the movie. I thought it was fun. So rewatching Scream movies is going to be interesting. You never know if you're going to like them more over time or like them less. I remember enjoying Scream 4 in the theaters, but not liking it so much down the road. Maybe that's going to be the case for this one. Maybe it won't, but right now, in this moment, I enjoyed it. I will give it 2 thumbs up. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. It was fun. Certainly, in my opinion, wasn't the worst one made so far, and because of that, I got to give it, its due. So, I enjoyed it, guys. If you have seen the movie, please let me know your thoughts below, and let me know your thoughts on the franchise at this point. Do you think that there's room for more? Do you think that's good for now? You let me know, guys. So, I appreciate you watching this video. My name's Christian Hanna Horror. Be sure to sub to this my channel if you haven't and like this video. I'd appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.